Welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with around 10 years of healthy shoes, minimalist shoes, zero drop shoes, shoes with wide toe boxes, and also the medical side of other types of foot health. The medical side so it's orthotics or their types of shoes. So I'm going to touch on both topics a little bit. So let's get into this. So when I was young, maybe in my early 20s, around there, I had Morton's neuroma. So what it is it's the knuckles, or they call it the ball of your foot, which is the knuckles of the toes. That area, it gets kind of squished and crunched by shoes over the years. And what happens is there's a nerve, a big fat nerve right in between the knuckles. And if your foot is being deformed, if your bones are being slightly deformed from your shoes, it squishes it and it pinches that nerve. And it's kind of one of those things that it's just like, it's chronic, it's lifelong, right? And I've had issues with it for the last 20 years or so. And so for about 10 years, I subscribed to the medical side. You have like the medical side and you have like the health nut hippie side, right? Two very, very different worlds. We're going to touch on both. So for about 10 years, I was in the medical side. So what they do is you go to a place called orthotics or orthotic doctor, and they'll make a mold of your foot, like a clay mold of your foot. And then they'll charge you like $400 or something along those lines, depending on where you're living or the place. I don't know, 300 to 500, somewhere in there. At least that's what it costed. The last pair I bought was like, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe 15 years ago, probably around there, maybe 13 years ago. And I think it was around like 500 something. Anyway, so they make a mold of your foot, and then they give you it's an insole that they give you, and you can put that inside any shoe. And it actually helps a lot. Like it takes away the pain. So I think it pushes right behind the knuckles, and it pushes them up. So they're not squished down and like kind of collapsing. It pushes them up right behind the knuckles. And then there's an arch, of course. And it helps with the pain. It like takes the pressure off that nerve a little bit, and you can operate just fine. The problem, there's many problems with that. And orthotics shops usually have a lot of different types of shoes they'll sell. They're like 200 or 300 or 400 or whatever. And they're designed to support the structure of your bones and your foot with hey kitty, with arches and orthotics or their special shoes. And my cat's he wants attention. He gets jealous sometimes when I'm making these videos. So on the medical side, the problem I found is that as soon as whenever I'm not wearing those shoes, my feet would hurt. So I'd go and do 5-10 minutes of yoga. My feet would hurt afterwards, because as soon as you take your foot out of that supportive shoe, then just collapses back into its like weak, pathetic, like squishy, miserable, like not formed properly self. So the problem with, they say upwards of 80% of most adults have like chronic foot pain. Some less, some more, right? And there's all sorts of horrible, like weird foot deformations that come from shoes, essentially. And the problem essentially is shoes. That's what causes the problem. And the main points that cause The main reasons that they cause problems for the foot is it's really simple. There's a couple main parts. So, and if you look back to like ancient China, where they used to break and bind ladies' feet and make them smaller, it's really a horrible, hideous thing they would do. But the reason that they would do it is because they believed that small feet were more sexy, more beautiful. Right? It was a fetish thing. And by the term fetish, I mean it's specifically for something that appears more sexually appealing, like more appears more higher status or good looking or sexy or something along those lines. It's for looks. It's for getting married or whatever throughout the years. It's fetish. It's not based on a physical need. It's based on, so the designs of the shoes were based more on fetish than anything. That was the main reason for the designs of shoes throughout the last few hundred years, right? They became more about fetish. And obviously in today's day and age, they're almost like 100% fetish. Unless the shoes are designed for a sport, then they're designed still primarily for fetish reasons, but also for, to help with the sport. So what are the specific ways which shoes are made now that cause all these problems? There's a few main factors. One is the heel is almost always raised up. So they call this flat, zero drop. There's no up, there's no down, there's no angles. It's just flat. So in a good healthy shoe, you want to make sure it's zero drop or as close to zero drop as possible. So when you're cranking up the back, and almost all shoes do now, even healthy shoes, it throws all of these little perfect hairpin angles off a little bit. And trust me, the human body is designed like with perfect precision. So when you're going out of your way to change some of those angles, it's going to cause problems. So when you got the heel arched up a little bit, it causes problems. And then you have a arch, which is not natural, stuck in most shoes, big arch to hold up the foot properly. So naturally you have ligaments and muscles in there creating your own arch. Naturally creating your own arch. Sort of like this in the foot, like a big kind of indent upwards in the foot. And the reason for that is so when you step, your foot can expand out, but then bounce back. It's like a little bit of a spring, and it's designed to be there. So with the implant of arches in all these shoes, what happens is you lose those muscles and those particular ligaments. They lose strength and they basically stop working. So you become the foot becomes dependent on the arch, right? And that's why you see people they're flat-footed. It's because they've been wearing shoes with arches their whole life. So they don't actually, those muscles are deteriorated and they don't work anymore. And those ligaments are deteriorated. So when they go to step outside of their shoe, it goes flat, totally flat, which creates a lot of problems and can create tons of foot pain. So that's one. That's two things: the arch and the big heels. And the worse the height of the heel, the more possible creating tons of foot problems in the future. So like you're talking about pumps, and they're like this, and the shoes like that, you're going to create tons of problems in the ball of the foot, probably Morton's neuroma and other issues. And of course, the ligaments and the tendons and the muscles are all totally messed up. They're not going to work properly. It's going to mess up your calf. It's going to mess up your knee. Probably could give you back problems, spine problems, knee problems. It goes throughout the whole body and creates a series of issues. A lot of knee problems come from shoes, actually, and the lack of having proper ligaments and muscles. So I'm actually I'm going to show you a few pairs of shoes that I have too. So there's another problem too, and that's a small toe box. So the toe box is like the front of the shoe where your toes go. So throughout the last couple hundred years, the toe boxes have been getting more pointy and pointier and pointier. What the problem with that is your toes are naturally supposed to be kind of open and wide, like wide and open. But with the pointy, all of the shoes being pointy at the front, it squishes your toes like this, right? And if you take your shoe off right now and look at your foot, look at your toes, you'll see that, depending on your age, you'll see that the bones will be curving inwards like such on the outside because of wearing shoes, and then it deforms your skeletal structure of your foot, and that creates problems. One of the problems is I think it's called a bunion, and then what that is it's a big bump. It'll be a big bump on one of the sides sticking out kind of like this of your foot. And there people are like, we don't know what it is. You got to cut it, go get surgery and cut it off. But what it is it's just your bone sticking out. So it's over the years, what would be a straight toe has bent so much that part of the bottom of the bone is just sticking out. That's like the bent. It's like a broken toe kind of over the years, and bottom of the bone is sticking out. So that's from the super squished toe boxes. So about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, a little less, more or less, I came across a phenomenon called barefoot shoes. So barefoot shoes are basically like, it's a thin piece of rubber, super flat, super thin, it's almost not there. It's almost like there's no shoe. It feels like you're wearing like socks or slippers, And usually barefoot shoes have a bit of a wide toe box, at least a little bit wider than most conventional shoes. So I started wearing those 10 years ago, somewhere around there. And I loved them. I was like, whoa, amazing. Like, they felt so good. One thing I must say, though, is you got to be careful if you jump right into wearing barefoot shoes and you've been wearing really, really sturdy shoes your whole life. It's very easy to break one of the bones in your feet, especially if you go jogging or hiking with barefoot shoes and you're not used to it. A lot of people break bones in their feet when they first try this because your feet are not like most shoes have so much structure, so much ankle support and so much structure. They're like just a huge boot, like a solid boot, and your feet are weak and feeble when you take them out of those and put them in. Wearing shoes like this and going for a jog, if you're not used to it, it would be the same as going for a jog barefoot. So if you hit a rock or something, easily break one of the bones in your feet or more. I know people, at least a couple people have done that. So you got to be very careful and take it very slow. Like walk for half an hour a day in them and then slowly increase that time. I never broke anything in my feet, but if you work out aggressively, you can very easily. So there's like hundreds of companies that make them, and they're all different variations. Some have more spongy, like a thicker sponge now. Some have a little bit of a lift at the back. Some have really wide toe boxes, and some have like a little bit wider toe boxes. Like here, I'll show you. This shoe is, what was it called? Something like, here we go. I don't remember. Birchberry. Birchberry. It's like Burberry, but it's Birchberry. So you can see this toe box here is a little bit. See how it goes in really wide right here. Most like tennis shoes like this is about a tennis shoe, old-fashioned tennis shoe type of look or make. It wouldn't be wide here. It would only start coming out wide here. So anyway, these are wider than a regular tennis shoe. Also, like they're super. Oops, sorry. They're very, very malleable, and not super light. These ones are leather, but this is a cheap Amazon brand called Within. They're pretty good, not bad. But you see how wide that is? Very, very wide. This toe box here. See how wide that is there? These are so comfortable. These are cheap. They're like $30 on Amazon, but they feel good. They feel like slippers. Like they feel so comfortable. All that wide space. And the problem I found with cheap shoes like this on Amazon is they're okay if you're gonna wear them for like 20 minutes, but if you're gonna be in them all day, your feet will probably hurt, and they're gonna wear out really fast. And just I don't really recommend them. Depends on the type of lifestyle you have, how much time you spend in shoes. This is a brand I used to use for probably several years, maybe 7 years, 8 years. Brand's called Lems, Lems. Very good brand. Honestly, they're amazing. They're an amazing brand. They have so many different types of shoes now. Here's another Lems waterproof winter boot. Awesome design, beautiful shoe, feels amazing. This one in particular, actually, oh, by the way, I'm not affiliated with any shoe company. This one in particular is pretty thick, and I actually like that now. I prefer a bit of a thick sole. I want a big thick sole. I don't do the super thin shoes anymore. I spend my entire day on my feet, walking, working. I'm on my feet at least 10 hours a day, maybe more. Some days like 14 hours, 15 hours a day. So if you're walking on cement, it's gonna fatigue your knees and your back and your feet more. If you're on cement or hard surfaces all day, you want some cushion. I'm all about the cushion now, but I still try to keep it. Zero drop or very close to zero drop, and big, fat, wide toe box. These are amazing. One of the problems with Lems I found, though, I always had to order them from the States. They're made in Colorado, I do believe, but you can only order them from the States, special order, and they're very expensive. These were like 400 or something. It just like, unless you're rich or something, like they're just way too expensive. That's one of the problems with minimalist shoes that I found. The general name, what you call them, is minimalist shoes. But I mean, this one here is not really minimal, but it has a huge toe box, which is awesome, and it's I think it's zero drop or very, very close. So we'll talk about this one new brand that I found maybe a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. Yeah, about a year, maybe a year and a half, and I'm sold. Like they're my favorite brand right now, and it's essentially all I buy, the only brand I buy right now, and it's called Ultra, Altra, Ultra. They're sold and designed to be running shoes. Primarily, they're running shoes, but they're either zero drop or very close to zero drop, and they have, look at that fat, wide toe box. It's huge. Like they're just the most comfortable. These ones in particular, I forget the name. Escalente Racer, size 11, made in Vietnam. A lot of shoes are made in Vietnam, but anyway, these, when I got them when they're new, they were the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn in my life, hands down. Easily the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn in my life. Yes, I know if you go buy a new pair of runners anywhere, that's $200. They're going to be very, very comfortable. What I mean is the most comfortable pair of shoes I've ever worn that are also extremely, extremely healthy for the structure of your bones and your feet. Also, another thing too is, so this company sells, they're all running shoes, but you can use them for walking. I use them for working, walking, running, exercise, everything. That's all I buy right now is this brand. And I'm not affiliated. Maybe in like a couple years, if I make more shoe videos, maybe I'll get an affiliation, but highly unlikely. I don't want to talk about shoes all day. Like, maybe, who knows? 1 in 1,000 chance. But anyway, definitely not affiliated. So, but anyway, that brand, absolutely love it. That's for those ones are like 200. They're very expensive. A lot of their brands are pretty expensive. You can get some for like $100, but fantastic brand. I have other pairs. What was I going to talk about? I totally forgot. So yeah, minimalist shoes, healthy shoes. If you go to an orthotics store, they have their own medical version of healthy shoes. So they'll be like walking shoes or dress shoes or like senior citizen shoes. They'll be like $300 around there, and they have huge arches and tons of structure. They're like wearing a boot. It's just nasty, man. That shit isn't good for your feet, man. It's just gonna put off problems forever. You gotta grow. Like one thing I noticed is the size of my ankles. The first 6 months of wearing barefoot minimalist shoes, my ankles actually, the width of my ankles grew by maybe a centimeter on each side. They just became really thick. That's all the flexor and extensor muscles and ligaments growing, so to stabilize your ankle and such. And it's just a healthier foot, you know. Anyway, so I haven't had much issue with pain. My only issue was when I was in the medical side. When I would do 10 minutes of yoga, my feet would start aching and hurting. Like as soon as I took my foot out of the shoe, it would cause problems. And now I don't get that at all. 10 years of healthy shoes. But I get like lingering little bits of it. Like my foot will be like numb or like a little tingly, a little bit of pain. But it's 10 times better than it was. On the medical side, it was kind of bad. Like I couldn't do much yoga because my feet would hurt. And then on the health nut side, I don't have any issues. So that's it. That's my video. I could go on and talk about it forever, but yeah, this is a good brand. I've been through probably 10 brands, at least, maybe more, and I've had at least like 30 different pairs. Maybe less. I don't buy shoes very often because, it's one of 100 other expenses. And definitely not rich, just getting by barely. So yeah. Anyway, so that's my video. Hopefully you got something good out of it. I totally recommend it because the thing is, any little bit of time and effort and money that you put into your health, and you do this long term, it'll either you won't get weird messed up diseases for the area you're working on, or you'll create lots of health. The main thing, I guess, would be you want to avoid horrible diseases and foot disorders and for whatever area of health you're working on. But these things compound over time. 10 years of wearing healthy shoes, who knows what other kind of horrible foot disorders I would have gotten, or I would have continued to have pain and not been able to do things like yoga or whatever. Just walking around my apartment with my shoes off hurt. Even walking in sand hurt. So any little bit you can put into health is good. So that's my video. If you got anything good, entertaining, or value out of this video, like and subscribe for more great content coming down the pipeline. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye. See ya.